Hey guys, it's Christina. Welcome back to my channel. And I am here with Chad Crawford Kinkle. He is a film director and he's here to tell us about his new film, Dementer. So, Chad, you want to introduce yourself and tell people a little bit about the film?
Yeah, for sure. Like you said, I'm Chad Crawford Kinkle. I'm the writer director of Dementer. Previously, my feature that came out was Jugface, and this is my second feature. And yeah, Dementer is this story about this woman, and she's like a transient type of woman, and she's getting a job at a skill center for adults with special needs. And the problem is she's very compelled to help people. But the problem is every town that she goes to, the devils show up and they start, going after the person that she cares about most. So the film is about her trying to figure out how to protect that person. I guess the hook is also not just about the story, but it's about the fact that I cast my sister, who has Down syndrome, as one of the lead characters, and so I kind of built the whole premise around how can I make a movie with my sister, and this is the kind of wild and crazy story I came up with.
Oh, nice. How'd you come up with the idea for it?
Yeah, what was funny is like I got back from work today and I was like in the shower, and funny, I'd kind of forgotten this, but uh, the initial, the premise was that, hey, how do I make a story with my sister? What would that be like? What would that even look like? I wanted to make it a horror movie. And I think when I started thinking about like inspiration for the story before I even had any sort of details, in my office I have actually two cuckoo clocks. One is just one that's like a turkey that comes out of it, but the other is really cool. It's a Hansel and Gretel uh, cuckoo clock, and it's actually made from German, the black woods, or yeah. So it's like it comes from the area where that those stories come from. And so like when I was thinking about Hansel and Gretel, it's like, it has this sort of parallel to me to cults. So in Hansel and Gretel, it's like, the kids are lost in the woods and they find this house that's made of candy, but the house is just meant to lure the kids into for the witch to eat, right?
Yeah.
And so like a cult is kind of like that too. They're like, it's like this leader or organization, and he's leading in these lost people into his world, his house. That's instead of made of candy, it's made of like love and promises and maybe philosophy. But it's really this kind of corruptive thing that the cult leader is trying to eat them, or transform them, or manipulate the people, and it's not the positive thing that it seems to be. So it's kind of started there, me thinking about Hansel and Gretel and loving this cuckoo clock that I have so much. And so then I was like, okay, I initially thought it was going to be like this documentary, and I was going to follow my sister around for like a month and just shoot as much footage as I could, and then kind of come up with a story. And I kind of thought it was going to be like something supernatural that she was supposedly involved in, and I was going in, and I would even be a character in it, like the brother going in and researching what had really happened. And then I was like, that's not. I mean, it sounds funny. I was like, well, that's not commercial enough. So then I made an even crazier movie, and I thought, okay, no, I needed the lead to actually be a secondary, a different character, not my sister, because I was like, I'm going to have to shoot this in 14 days, so I'm going to have to build it around things that I know my sister can do, but actually have a story. So I need the audience to probably follow along emotionally with another main character. And that's how I came up with, okay, who's the closest person in my sister's everyday life? And that's the aides that take care of her every day. So I was like, okay, cool. So then the main character is going to get a job as an aide at the center, and she's going to be with Stephanie all the time. And so that's a way I can use Stephanie in the story, but also have a character for the audience to kind of latch onto.
And yeah, I think I was reading another interview with you somewhere, and they had said you have you have a few actors in the film, and then also some non-actors.
Yeah, I mean, really, Katie is for the majority of the movie. She's the only actress. Of course, Larry Fessenden, who plays the cult leader, he's an actor. And then there's a guy who's at Scott Hodges. He's an actor, and he plays the guy at the meat processor. Initially, that was a much larger character in the story. I think, like, when I was writing it, I was uncomfortable in a way about this, such a dark story with my sister and kind of how it ended, and also about how much information to tell the audience about what's going on. In Jugface, I definitely got accused of not explaining things, even though I felt like I explained enough. That's always my rule. I want to explain enough for the movie experience that's supposed to happen. And so with this, I had that character being a character in the story where she would go and talk to about the devils, about what's happening. Like he had knowledge, like, as she's, spoiler, as she's buying the cow heart, he recognizes that that's weird. And so he thinks, oh, maybe she knows about the cult and their practices or something. And so anyway, I ended up scrapping that whole storyline because that was actually the first 2 days of the shoot were his scenes, because it really didn't serve the story and really the initial concept that you were going to be locked in to this one character and you're going to be experiencing her world as she was learning about it, kind of again. So you're going to be in her mind. And to have that other kind of exposition just, really wasn't, I didn't feel it really needed to be there. So anyway, but then everyone else in the story is people from whatever environment we were shooting in. So if we're at the skills center, the aides are the normal aides, at the house, at the animal shelters, like the people that worked there. I wanted to be authentic in a way, those environments, because I was really fascinated and wanted to explore those environments and, tell a story within them. So to make them really authentic, I had to have the actual people there, and also for just a technical reason, like, I didn't feel like I could bring in actors to play the role of the people who work at the center, because my sister and the others there, they wouldn't react to them properly because they wouldn't know them.
Yeah.
They wouldn't be able to go, okay, this is an actor playing the role of an aide, but they've never met each other. So I just I would tell them the aides, and like Brandy Edmondson, who plays like the main worker that Katie deals with in the movie. She's the one with like the tattoos on her neck.
Oh, okay. I wouldn't have seen those.
Oh, okay, yeah, she's the main girl that Katie talks to at the center. I told her from the beginning, I was like, I have to have you. Like, you just know too much, and you're too familiar with everything, and I just like, and you're gonna be great. You're gonna look great, And I would just tell them too. I was like, they're like, I don't know how to act, and I would just say, don't act like just be yourself. You're gonna have the words right from the script, but you can even say it the way you think it should be said. You can reword it how you need to be. And so I think that approach worked well. And I already was shooting in a way that helped using non-actors, because I didn't use any storyboards or anything like that. I had storyboards the first day, and I thought, forget this is not going to work. I'm just going to have to go with my gut and like find what's working with what's working. Particularly with like the scenes of my sister, I had to figure out, okay, this isn't working. She's not doing what I need to do. What will she do? What can she do? Mm-hmm. And I would have to watch what she's doing, and then find the shot that fit that. And so working with the non-actors, I wasn't so just static or determined to get something specific. I really just wanted the essence of the scene to happen. And as long as that happened, for that storytelling beat, I was fine with it.
Yeah, I didn't know if, I know you mentioned having like a 14-day shoot. So I was like, well, I was thinking, well, when you're working with the non-actors, I didn't know if there was like any pressure to try to get that like within a certain number of takes because maybe their reactions wouldn't be as organic or.
I mean, yeah, the pressure was huge. One of the initial inspirations for this movie was a movie called The Tribe, and it's shot in a school where, for the deaf, and so they're just doing sign language the whole movie. There's like not even any subtitles, but you can follow along perfectly, and it's great. And but when he spoke about it, I saw it at Sundance one year. The director said that he had spent 3 months rehearsing, and it was flawless too. And it just seems like they're actors, but they weren't, because he had spent 3 months, and we spent zero time with anybody beforehand. Which is dangerous in a way, but I wanted something authentic too from them, in the moment, that I wasn't so staged, I guess. I mean, it's probably wiser to actually do rehearsals if you can do it, but I think that would have hurt this for some reason. I like the spontaneous nature of this, and yeah, so there's a ton of pressure to get what we needed to get, and luckily through just technology. There's a program called Isotope RX7, and it's an audio program, and so I could use takes that where their line delivery wasn't right. Like when you speak and you say like a word, like a sentence, you'll say, "I'm going to the store." The store is the last word, and it's like a downturned. You hear about the store, it sounds like an ending, right? That's inflection. And so sometimes their inflection would be all over the place. Every word would be, because they would be nervous or something. But I could go into this audio program, I could normalize it all to like one level, one type of inflection, and then I can go each word and shape either the beginning, the end, or the whole word, or to adjust the flow and make it sound perfectly. And I did that over and over and over, and just to smooth it out. And that was a huge help in this. Like that's probably horrifying to other actors, that the editor would go in there and adjust every word, every inflection. But I mean, sometimes you really have to, with like if you're cutting someone's dialogue, like in the middle of a sentence, like you want it to end, like the word will be going up, the inflection, instead of going down from the end. And so I could just take that word and shape it down, and it sounds like that's the whole sentence. And not actually, the middle of just a sentence, that I've cut. So yeah, there was tons of pressure.
So I had rewatched the film actually earlier, and something that I noticed when I rewatched it, that I hadn't noticed the first time, when I had the pleasure of seeing it at a virtual Chattanooga Film Festival last year.
Oh yeah.
Which, that's a wonderful festival. I would definitely encourage everybody to attend that, especially if it's, virtual. It'll be available to more people. But
right,
one of the things I had noticed that was really cool was I really liked the colorful, the hand-drawn intro with all the names and stuff. Was that done by some of the residents at that facility? Or?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, I just went in and said, hey, who, and asked like Brandy, who do you think can write the letters, and so yeah, that they wrote it and drew it, colored it and misspelled names and stuff, which I thought was really just great, And I think my daughter colored a little bit too. I think with Dementer, I think she colored on that one a little, but yeah, it was mostly 99% the clients at the center that wrote them and colored on them however they wanted to, which I thought was amazing.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I thought your sister and Katie had really good chemistry on screen. Did they know each other beforehand?
No, they never. Well, no, it's not true. They probably have met, because my sister and my family, they're all the background people during Jug Face. Like, they're not that there's some other people in there, but the majority is like my family. So my sister was on set some then, and I don't know if I'm sure they did meet then, but Katie is just like one of those people that is just really welcoming to anybody and just a very kind person.
Mm-hmm.
And so she just naturally knows how to be herself around anybody. And that's not like a lot of people can't, they just don't know how to act, or they just feel nervous.
Yeah.
And Katie's just that type of person that she's just, I don't know, she's just like that. So she had a natural affinity with Stephanie, and I think Stephanie recognizes that too in people. And recognizes the opposite in people too. And will go. The funny thing is, like, my sister, she's good at just being herself, of course, but she doesn't let anything stand in her way when these kind of formalities, like we go into like a restaurant, and my sister, she'll like pick one person for some reason and immediately go over to them like they're eating and like give them a hug and want to say hi. And it's always, of course, startling to the people, but so anyway, of course. So the combination of my sister and Katie was just perfect. They both are outgoing in a way, I guess you would say.
Aww. So, has your sister seen the film? Have the residents of that facility seen the film?
I've showed some to my sister, like Thanksgiving when I was editing it. I had her come in and start, because I didn't want to show her like the creepy stuff. I just wanted to see her to see herself in it, and she just kind of looked at it funny and walked out like she didn't want to watch it. And I was like, oh, okay, I'll try to show it to her again at some point. But I'm gonna make a cut of the movie that's without the horror elements for everybody at the center, just to see themselves in it and stuff like that. So
I'm sure they'll appreciate that. And so was that something that like you and your family kind of noticed over the years, that maybe you weren't seeing as much authentic representation of people with Down syndrome?
I mean, we never discuss it. People ask me about like growing up with my sister, and I'm just like, it's like, to me, completely normal. She was just my sister. It was only sort of abnormal when we would go out places and then people would watch, or, they would just, then I, would feel different about it. But we never really talked about it. She just was what she was. And if we saw someone in a movie, we just never even really discussed it. But personally, I definitely felt a weirdness to the fact that most Downs people in popular media, like TV shows or films, they were also high functioning, that it was almost like startling to me. I only knew one person locally that was even anywhere even close to that high functioning. And so it didn't ever feel like it was really a representation of most of the people that I knew that had Down. I'm not even sure I've ever even said that to anybody either. It was just something I would kind of think about like every once in a while, but just keep going on. So
yeah. I mean, I'll admit, I had the great fortune of when I was in school, I went to a mainstream school that, all throughout elementary, middle, and high school, we had, various special ed classes. So, I don't particularly know that much about Down syndrome, but, I've been, in adapted PE classes and rode the bus and that sort of thing. I've been around them somewhat.
Right.
But yeah, so is that kind of something that you're looking to do, like to further like representation of people with Down syndrome in your work in the future, or?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't really shy away from anybody, any type person, and so anyway, but for this film, it really came out of just a desire to make a movie with my sister. And of course, yeah, she has Downs, so that's like, the interesting part or the dangerous part, however you want to think about it. But and I think it's absolutely one. It wasn't really an objective of mine to show that consciously, right? But subconsciously, it was there. It was something that had bugged me. And so I was really glad to show not just my sister, but everyone at the center,
Yeah.
just in their glory, really, just exactly who they were, which is amazing. And so, will I do that in the future? If the story calls for it, for sure. I'm not just going to like try to make a career of doing that, because it's just going to be based on like what the story calls for sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, I appreciate you talking to me about the film. Is there anything else you wanted to mention about it, or plug your social media, or?
Yeah, I mean, I'll just say that it's like it's up for rent on most VOD services like iTunes, Amazon, Google Play, Google, and most cable companies like Comcast and DirecTV. So yeah, it's I think I would want people to check it out. It's definitely something different, probably something they'd never really seen before. I'd keep in mind that it's a journey along with someone with a fractured mind, and you're only going to know what they know as they remember it, basically, and that's the experience that you're supposed to have. So it's told in a little different way, I guess, than a normal narrative is. But that's the point, and that's the experience. So if you're a horror fan and want something different, then Dementer is definitely going to be different.
All right. Well, thank you so much for watching this video. And if you like it, go ahead and give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you aren't already. Leave a comment if you feel inclined. And I'll see y'all later.